And Israel has reportedly been given access to air bases on Iran's northern border, raising fresh concerns about a strike against Iran's nuclear sites. Citing American officials, Foreign Policy magazine reports that Iran's next-door neighbor, Azerbaijan, has quietly granted Israel permission to use the bases, part of a growing security relationship. AFP quotes Azerbaijan officials as hotly denying the arrangement. CNN's Tom Foreman is here to sort this all out for us. Tom, a little bit complicated.
It is complicated, and it's created something of a firestorm here in D.C. as people debate this report in Foreign Policy magazine. Let's talk about what would be involved if this is correct. Israel's over here. If Israel decided that, in fact, it was going to strike Iran over here, it faces one inherent problem, and you can see it right here. There's more than 1,000 miles of distance between the two countries. An attack of this size, according to previous analysis, would involve 100 to 125 different planes flying this distance. Over that distance, you're going to have to refuel the planes, which means you're probably going to carry fewer armaments because you're trying to get the most out of your weight of fuel and armament. So you have to get over there, which gives you basically one big strike to hit Iran. However, if they wanted to do this, and if American foreign policy is correct with this, then you might be talking about Azerbaijan up here, where we know there are about a half dozen bases, some of them former Russian bases. But Azerbaijan and Israel have been building closer ties for a number of years now, diplomatically and in terms of their economies and in terms of defense systems back and forth. How tight, we can't entirely say, but we do know these bases are up here. And if the Israelis, in fact, gained access to these through some kind of cooperative deal, with which the Azeris are currently denying, look at the difference. Now, the strike distance from up in here in Azerbaijan to down into here is going to be somewhere between 400 and 500 miles. Why does that make a big difference? This is why it makes a big difference. Because the simple truth is, if you start flying with F-15s and F-16s, bringing in bunker buster bombs like this, you're going to be traveling at anywhere from 1 to 2 times the speed of sound, depending on how fast you come in. Covering that shorter distance now gets cut down to maybe 40 minutes, something like that. You're able to come in, these planes can carry these armaments, they can strike very fast in all conditions, day or night, no matter the weather, and they're good at defending themselves as they try to get out, because we also know that the Iranians have very good air defense systems, and they seem to have some of these around these nuclear facilities. Why does all of this matter? The simple truth is, if that's what happened, and if in fact we were able to see this sort of thing happen, if it went that way, being that much closer would give the Iranians, or the Israelis, an advantage of speed. Obviously, they come in faster. With speed comes surprise. You're no longer flying over several different airspaces of different countries that might alert the Iranians that this was underway. They could possibly engage their targets in Iran longer because they'd be closer to being able to refuel, maybe fly another sortie, maybe hang around longer because they have more fuel, and they're closer to overall support. If one of their planes gets shot down, a helicopter from Azerbaijan could come in and rescue someone. They could get more fuel. They could do all sorts of things that might make a difference. All of this is theory, Gloria. We don't know that this is necessarily what would happen, but this is why it would make a difference. If, in fact, it did happen, an attack from up here is much, much easier than attack from over here. Gloria?
So, Tom, we understand from Israel's point of view why this would be their plan, but aren't there some risks and a real downside here?
Well, and I do want to point out that from the point of view of everybody involved, nobody seems to be saying this is happening. This seems to be based on U.S. intelligence sources and what foreign policy found out. Yeah, but there are risks here. Among the risks, the simple truth is Israel would absolutely face a counterattack from Iran if it did this. Part of your force is now up here, which means it's not over here to help with the counterattack as much as it might be able to. You're also committing a substantial portion of your Air Force up here. If it had a problem, you've lost it. You also run the worldwide risk that would scare a lot of people of dragging other people in, including the Caucasus region up here between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, the bridge to Russia. This is an area that's had a lot of troubles. If you had counterattacks this way and that dragged in other countries or even Russia, you have a totally, totally different confrontation than before. Again, I want to stress, this is all nothing but essentially theory at this point and sources that were reported by Foreign Policy magazine. We don't know that it would work this way, but you can see some of the complications, some of the potential advantages and disadvantages if it did. Gloria?